All right, Chris, here we are in the second year of your career. We've kind of become a mainstay in this offense, despite you just being in the second year here. As you think about it, as you look back, who's been the biggest mentor for you in Kansas City so far?
Without question, Jeremy. Jeremy's been a guy who's come up alongside me, had a lot of constructive criticism.
Because I was just making sure I caught it. And I hate it.
I didn't say whether it was a good thing, bad thing, the wrong thing, the right thing. I actually took the question.
Has really taken the time to work with me in the off-season and during the season, so owe a lot of that progress to him.
Now, you're a guy off the field who has many hobbies. I've seen you playing the piano, I've seen you playing the guitar and social media. How many instruments do you play, and then what one would you say is your favorite?
At this point, I really only play two. Right now, I'm actually learning to play the piano better, taking lessons doing that. But I've been playing guitar for most of my life.
Now, you're also a movie buff. I think everyone knows by now about the movie Off the Field that you did when you were still at Georgia. What's your favorite movie and why?
I flip-flop a lot of times, but I'm a fan of movies that can be fantasy but can be grounded in realism. Movies that you know aren't true, but just for a second when you watch them, you think that there's a possibility that it could be true. Fan of some Christopher Nolan films, how he does that. His Dark Knight trilogy, Inception, Interstellar. The imagery is awesome, but somehow they're still grounded, somehow.
I think anyone that follows you on Twitter realizes you're also a gamer. What's your favorite video game of all time and why?
You know, when I first got into video games, I was back on the original Xbox when Halo Combat Evolved came out. That game took the world by storm, and you could play online, and the campaign was beautiful. I really enjoyed, being told stories through that medium.
You've often described yourself as a nerd. I just want you to go into that. Why do you think you're a nerd? Just tell me a little bit about that.
I always have this argument with people. What's the difference between a nerd and a geek? Because I consider myself a nerd, not necessarily a geek.
You catch them all?
Nah, I quit. I believe.
Shoot, I'd stop too. It takes so much time.
I would say that, geeks are people who are book smart, love math, things like that. Not that I don't like those things, but I'm more of the comic books, sci-fi, video games type guy. I think that those are great reprieves for people to get away from their daily lives and just imagine, what could be, and I think that's good for the brain.
Now, we've talked about a few of your hobbies. What's the next hobby that you find yourself getting interested in or involved with?
I think there's any time something comes up and I see something that someone does with passion, I might look at that and consider learning it. Not necessarily that I'm good at it, but I'll take the time to learn it, whether that's doing it myself or going to find a teacher.
We were at a school visit, a community visit, and you explained to the kids that your mom didn't really let you play sports until you were in high school. Can you just go a little into that for me?
Yeah, in my household, it was about doing well in school before it was excelling on any sort of playing field. We were able to pick up instruments, pick up books, and really that was the extent of what we did until I got to high school. And it wasn't until high school that we were able to branch out and do those things. Having gone so long without it, I truly did appreciate the opportunity to play, and I also knew who Chris was apart from the game.
We're on our 8th question now, and it's the most famous question in Kansas City. What's your favorite barbecue that you've had so far?
I already knew that's what you were going to ask. I think my favorite one, if I didn't have to worry about waiting in the lines, would be Joe's. My other go-to place, because you can just call it in and pick it up, is Q39. I know Q39 is a newer place. It's not one of the traditional
Very new
places.
school of you.
But I'm a huge fan of it.
Question 9, I know this is very important to you. If you could just go through some of your goals after football.
Always had kind of a list of goals that I wrote down when I was younger. And after football, I've always been big into mentoring. That's always been something that's been huge to me, passing on the wisdom that others have passed on to me. There's no way that I would have gotten here if it wasn't for people who spoke into me and people who guided me, some people who reprimanded me. It's not always pleasant, but it's necessary. And then also just begin to work on my craft as a storyteller, continue to learn about people, because I feel like that's the best way to tell stories, is to adapt them from real life experiences. And then, just at some point have a family.
At the end of each 10 questions with, we give you 4 nicknames that our guys came up with. You got to pick one and just tell us why. Darth Conley, Crispy Conley, Condoleezza Rice, or Con Parker?
Con Parker. I feel like that's too much like Ron. What was that? Condoleezza what?
Rice.
Condoleezza Rice? That's her name, so no. Crispy Conley. Believe it or not, someone's called me crispy before, and I didn't like it. Yeah, no, it's just kind of weird. And so I guess we'll have to go with Darth Conley.
Okay, well, Darth Conley, thank you for joining us on 10 Questions With.
Thank you.